He was a cold millionaire. No nanny could survive a week in his mansion. 6 daughters, 6 different worlds, and 1 broken home. But when a black maid named Amara arrived, everything changed, not with power, but with love. In the heart of the city stood a mansion people whispered about. It wasn't because of its beauty, but because no nanny ever lasted there. David Langford, a successful millionaire, was known for 2 things: his business empire and his 6 daughters. But after his wife passed away, his home turned into chaos. The girls, ranging from age 4 to 16, grew up wild, angry, and heartbroken. Some cried all night, some rebelled, some refused to talk. Over 6 months, David had fired 101 nannies. Some left crying, some resigned in a day, and some never came back after one evening. He didn't care. He thought money could buy everything, even peace inside his home. But what he didn't know was that life was about to send him someone very different. The next morning, a simple car stopped in front of the mansion. A woman stepped out, tall, dark-skinned, wearing a plain uniform and a calm smile. Her name was Amara Johnson. She wasn't a professional nanny. She was a maid, a woman who had worked hard her entire life, raising her younger siblings after losing her parents young. When the manager told her about the job, she didn't hesitate. She said softly, "Every child just needs someone to listen." The staff laughed quietly. They'd seen dozens of women walk in confidently and run out crying. But Amara didn't come for money, she came with purpose. When Amara entered, the mansion was loud. 2 girls were fighting over a tablet. One was crying upstairs. Another was playing loud music. The eldest, Sophie, looked her up and down and said coldly, "You won't last 2 days." Amara just smiled gently and replied, "Then let's make these 2 days beautiful." That was the beginning. David Langford came home that night, frustrated from work. He saw Amara cleaning the kitchen floor while 2 of his daughters helped her. He frowned. "They're not your assistants. They're my daughters." Amara stood, calm and composed. "No, sir, they're just learning the joy of helping." David didn't reply, but something in her voice made him pause. Every morning, Amara woke up before dawn. She cooked breakfast herself, sang softly while setting the table, and left small notes under each plate. Simple things. "You're loved. You're stronger than you think. Thank you for smiling." At first, the girls ignored them. But soon, they began to wait for her notes every morning. She taught them to bake cookies, paint, and even plant flowers in the backyard. The house that once echoed with screams slowly began to fill with laughter. David noticed the change. He came home one evening and heard his daughters laughing together for the first time in months. They were baking cupcakes, flour everywhere, Amara in the middle, smiling as they all giggled. For a moment, he stood at the doorway, frozen. His eyes softened. He hadn't heard that sound, the sound of happiness, since his wife's death. Later that night, he asked Amara, "How are you doing this? Every expert failed. Every nanny quit." Amara replied simply, "They tried to control them, sir. I just tried to love them. But not everything stayed perfect." The eldest daughter, Sophie, still carried resentment. She felt Amara was trying to replace her mother. One day, she yelled, "You're just a maid. You don't belong here." Amara didn't react in anger. She looked at her and said softly, "You're right. I'm just a maid. But your heart, that belongs to someone who misses love." That night, Sophie cried alone. But it was the beginning of healing. Weeks later, a small tragedy struck. The youngest girl, Lila, fell sick while David was out of the city. Amara stayed up all night by her side, singing softly and caring for her. When David returned and saw Amara asleep beside Lila's bed, holding her tiny hand, he realized. This woman wasn't just a maid. She had become the heart of his family. He covered them both with a blanket, eyes wet. Days passed, and the house became a home again. Sophie began to talk to Amara more, even helping her in the kitchen. One evening, David called everyone to the dining room. The table was full, the family complete for the first time. He raised a glass and said, "To the woman who did the impossible, who gave my daughters back their smiles." Everyone clapped. Amara lowered her head humbly, eyes full of tears. For the first time, she felt seen. Later that night, Sophie hugged Amara and whispered, "I'm sorry for everything." Amara smiled softly. "You never needed to say sorry. You just needed to feel loved." The camera pans out. 6 girls, 1 father, and 1 maid sitting together at the table, laughing under bright light. And for the first time in 6 months, the mansion finally felt alive again. Sometimes, family isn't who we're born with, it's who reminds us how to love again.